Hey everyone, this is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, February the 22nd. Hey, we're going to check in with our usual guys. Blake and I are down in Florida covering the Bassmaster Elite Series, but we got our guys keeping tabs on things at home. We got Tracy, we got Lee, we got Tom, and we got Gentry going to share the goods on those bodies of water back there. And we will be right back with what the guys have to say. Hey, we're on the road again. Bassmaster Elite Series is here in Florida, but we're checking in with our guys. Going to talk a little bit of fishing at home in the area around Bucks Island. We got Tom Ott going to talk a little bit of Lake Guntersville fishing. Tom, I know the snow is drifting, getting a little cold, but those fish, are they still going?
Absolutely. Well, let me just start off. I'd rather trade places with you right now. I mean, there's snow on the ground, ice in the guides, and that's just a fun combination, I suppose. But the bass are still somewhat cooperating. This weather's kind of definitely hit them in the head. The strong north wind we've been having, I think that's going to lay down. It's going to give some of those fish a little opportunity, that are already up that hopefully they're going to eat a little bit this weekend. It really has gotten a little bit tougher. I don't think so much the fish have moved. I just think that the bite has really slowed down with the cooler temperatures, especially the really cold nights. So the morning bite's been a little bit slower coming on, but in the afternoon it's still really picking up. Still seeing a lot of bait fish activity. The scopers are still doing pretty well. So there's a lot of things happening out there. I still really like the shallower bite. I think in that 4 foot or less with a trap, rattle trap, some kind of chatterbait, something along those lines that you can maybe even a square bill, a flat side, a frit side, something along those lines, chick magnet. All those things are really starting to peak, right? Well, not peak, but they're really starting to pick up. And those, it's just going to get stronger and stronger. So look for those areas that are really, staging areas going into the bays, and but definitely somewhere closer to a little bit deeper water that goes up maybe on a shelf or a flat. That's what I think the key is right now. The crappie bite. Somebody needs to tell me right now. It's been tough. So
Really, the crappie are kind of not cooperating with you a little bit, or is it just you trying to figure
no,
out the deep bite? Maybe they've gone shallow.
That's exactly what I think. I think they're starting to move back in. It's the time for them to do it. March ought to be wide open, especially the way we had an early fall. Saw a lot of big fish. So I think March, when they really get to spawning, get up around those shallower grass lines, it's going to be a lot easier to catch them. So I'll keep you posted on that. I haven't given up on them yet. It's just been a little tough to keep up with them.
I know you like to catch those and release them into the grease, you and St. Jennifer, so I know you ain't gonna quit on it.
Oh, absolutely not, absolutely not. And there's a couple of big tournaments this weekend. I know the tournament season kind of kicked off a few weeks ago, but there's going to be a lot of boats out there this weekend, regardless of the cold weather. So everybody just be safe. Still some debris. The water's a little muddy. That always makes it fun when it's cold and muddy. But the fish are out there. Let's go catch them, and we'll see you next week. Tight lines.
Appreciate it, brother. Talk to you next week. Hey, Blake and I are down here in Florida covering the Bassmaster Elite Series, but we got our guys keeping tabs on everything up there at home. We're going to tune in right now to Gentry Gordy and talk a little bit of Lake Martin and Jordan Lake. Gentry, what's going on at Lake Martin? It's got to be doing okay. Those Tallapoosa spotted bass seem to not mind the cold weather, right?
No, but we Martin got blown out last week when we had all that rain. It don't happen often. There's the last time I was up there, we got the ABT there this weekend. There was some cleaner water, Blue Creek, Chimney Rock, Mouth of Kalijah area. Other than that, man, everything is dirty. I look forward to this. I've had some of my better days when it does that. And the water rose 4.5 feet. So it did that in a matter of 4 days. So
Yep.
the fish to stay scattered would be an understatement, because a week and a half ago I had, largemouth cruising under docks, eating swim baits in a foot of water. I don't think you're going to see none cruising this weekend. But they're still going to be in the general area. You know what I mean? Just back off instead of up under the docks. They're probably sitting out in front of them. But with that water rising, I expect it to come back down. There's a lot of construction going on, a lot of big equipment, down below those seawalls. I don't know if the water stays up. I think it'll be good. And just doing you can get away with a spinnerbait when it's dirty up there, even if you don't have wind. So your red flat-sided square bills, your chatterbaits, your little thumping spinnerbaits. That's what I'm leaning towards. And everything's changed in a matter of 4 days.
All right, let's turn to Jordan Lake. What are we seeing out of Jordan?
Well, it's excuse me,
Muddy. Water's moving.
Yeah, it's muddy. It's moving. Those spotted bass to me has never minded that. You can get up there with if you want to run up north, throw a big, 1 ounce, ounce and a half spinner bait and just roll it down with the current. They're there. I've done really well. Not this week, but when it's cold, a heavy crawdad in that dead grass. And I've caught spotted bass doing it. It's just something they get around. So if you want to run up the river, the current's there by all means, but still just doing your spinnerbait, flipping that dead grass this time of year, it's worked well for me.
Yeah, and then if you're going to be scoping, you probably need to get behind some things, maybe in the mouths of pockets and stuff like that. And then, of course, the crappie, they're going to kind of hunker down and get close to things. Gentry, brother, we appreciate everything. You have a great tournament this weekend down there. We're rooting for you. Hey, we're joined by Tracy Robinson, who's in-house at Bucks Island in the loft with the backdrop of all of those baits on the wall. Go and see him up there. Go see Colin and Jamie, folks. And if Tracy's there, he'll tell you what to buy. Tracy, first of all, congratulations on a neat BFL tournament up there at Guntersville. Great story coming out. Nothing less than we'd expect from you to help somebody put some fish in the boat. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Thank you, Dano. Good. It was a good tournament up there, and changing water conditions. So any lake you're on, whether it's Guntersville or the Coosa River, you got to be pretty flexible right now, and that was the key for us this past weekend. Up there. As far as the Coosa River and Lay and Logan, a little bit more of a river system, so it's a little bit more messed up from the rains that you hear from any of the lakes around here right now. But if you look at the weights, I'll start out with down at Lay. We had the Coosa River Team Trail there, this past Saturday, and they whacked them there. I mean, 10th place was 17 pounds there, and first place 22 pounds. And you look at the big fish side of it, just lots and lots of 4.5 to 5 pounders caught. So they're still catching them. It's no problem to catch them. My son fished it, and a lot of my buddies, from here at the loft that come in here every day, that they fished it, and every one of them had a little bit different technique. And some of the key techniques, that I talked to them about, the forward-facing sonar is always this time of the year, but with all the mud, that kind of got tricky there tournament day, and some of those guys didn't catch them as good, but practice in the past week, they were catching them good on that forward-facing sonar. But the fish were roaming a lot. All that rain and wind and current and all, it kind of scattered the fish out there that the people were catching those fish, but they're still catching them. They just weren't congregated like they were before. A lot of the swim jig fish were getting caught too. And that's what my son was catching, going into that tournament. They saw a lot of bigger fish, on that swim jig. They weren't catching the numbers, but throwing the swim jig as far back in the creeks as you could go, the last grass. I mean, not even out towards the mouth, just as far back. You couldn't go any further where they were getting bit at. So, a lot of different things going on. Talked to a couple of guys that were catching them on riprap and throwing it on rocks and, seawall type. Not natural, but man-made seawalls and rocks. They were catching them on the red flat-sided crankbait. So just a lot of different things going on at Lay that you could catch them on right now. But you got to work at it. It's not easy. Logan, a little bit more messed up. The river itself it's blown out right now. You really can't get bit out there on the river where we've been kind of focusing on. I looked again this morning. The creeks were cleaned up a little bit at Logan this morning. The watercolor was starting to clean up in the back of some of the pockets that have really narrow entrances and maybe a little bit of a canal going into them then opens up. Those type of places like that, the water is actually clean enough where you could have some visibility. So right now I'd say get off the river, get your wintertime crankbaits out. Your mainly, I like the reds, but the reds or your flat sided crankbaits, get in the rocks and shirt rocks just off the river. those fish, at Logan, a little bit different. The water, they wait on that water to come up before they spawn. So those fish at Logan are way away from spawning. So, just kind of those creeks where they'll be in a month from now is where you want to be. But crankbaits, rocks would be the key thing right now, as messed up as it is. So that'd be my take on
Yeah, and
both
you're
those
probably going to
lakes
have to
right
get
now,
off.
Dan.
Yep, you're going to have to get off the river too for the crappie if you're looking for those, because those are going to be tucked away too, I'm sure. Hey, Tracy, brother, we appreciate everything. Thanks for the time. Great job this weekend up at the BFL, and we'll talk to you again soon, brother. We got our good friend Lee Pitts going to join us, talk a little bit of fishing on Neely Henry and Weiss. Hey, Lee, first of all, we got some news coming out of the place where even on Weiss Lake, man, you can't run within 100 feet of some of these docks. Is that stuff you're seeing kind of starting to show up there? Got to be a little bit more careful in some of those narrow creeks.
Yeah, a lot of the guys are talking about that right now, and it's just something that it's just got to be aware of where you're going, and a lot of these tight creeks coming in and out of. It's going to be tough not to have that with that distance. So a little bit of caution that everybody just kind of needs to kind of be aware of where they're at, where they're going into, and some of these places here. So I think what they've done that for is just trying to be safe. A lot of the guys running around. I think a lot of the pleasure boaters and the pontoons and things like that, and everybody getting out to enjoy the water. It's just a little something that our world's getting more crowded, so we just gotta put some things and be careful.
Yep, I hear you there. Okay, let's talk fishing. How's the crappie bite first at Weiss Lake? Give us a rundown.
It's one of those deals that this whole week it's crappie season. We're ready. Had a little bit of setback. We've had a lot of water come through Weiss and Neely Henry right now, and it's moved some of these fish. Some of the fish that were out there in the main river channel, they're not going to sit out there and fight all that current, so they've kind of got tucked away where they can and get a little break from it. Some of the places are bigger creeks, Yellow Creek, Bay Springs. Little River is starting to clean up a little bit right now, so those fish are getting back stable. But it's a normal occurrence. Yeah, we had some high water come in pretty quick. Still got some stain and some muddy water in here, but it's one of those deals that the fish are trying to get where they need to be and get set up. It's just you're going to have to look out of that main river and get out of some of this current right now.
All right, the bass bite on Weiss. What's going on there? Is it mud and you want to get tight, or what are we doing?
It's the fish here are still kind of tight. They're moving up and getting shallow. The flat-sided crankbait has still been good. You've had to swap it around a little bit from with the stain in here. That blackback chartreuse sides or blue chartreuse has been pretty good. The little orange throat patch on it. Something with a tight little wobble to it. This time of year, it's still cold. Water temperature's still cold, so spinnerbait bite is picking up some, but getting around some kind of rock, some wood, something like that. Not necessarily getting way off the river, but just trying to get out of some of the current. Sure, current's good, but when you got three turbines going and it's just rolling through there, the cold water, muddy water, these fish won't take a break from that.
All right, Neely Henry. We got current going through that system. I've seen it. I know that can turn like even bars offshore. Well, you think you might run away from it. Sometimes those things will light up. What's going on at Neely?
Yeah, and just like you said there, if you can get a little break from it, just enough that hey, they can tuck in and something that may wash some bait up on these flats. They're the old junkyard dog spots. They're ready to attack. So it's one of those deals. Find a good hard bottom, something that gets just a little current break or either a swing. That's what I look for a lot, especially at Neely. If you can find a little bit of an eddy spot with a little bit of swing in that current, hey, they'll wad up in that little calm spot sometimes and really bunch up. Once you find them, normally when you got issues like this with their water, a whole lot of current, once you find them, you're going to find a lot of them.
Lee, as always, brother, we appreciate it. We know Pat's down there wearing the crappie out. He always seems to find him. Pat from our parts department. He's pretty dang good at that crappie fishing. So we know the crappie bite's good down there too. Hey, brother, we appreciate everything. We'll talk to you again next week. Well, that'll wrap up our Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, February the 22nd. Hey, folks, thanks to the guys, everything that they say for us every week to put a few fish in the boat. And of course, thanks to you for spending the time with us here at the Bucks Island Area Fishing Report. We know some of you are out there looking to keep that boat going. Go see Pat and them in the parts department if you're looking for the parts that you need. Of course, Misty and everybody in the service department, see them over there. They'll be able to help you if you need to get your boat running again. Of course, if you're just ready for that new boat, looking for that thing to keep you going all season long, go see Katie, Patrick, and Melissa there in the sales department. And of course, the tackle upstairs in the loft with Colin and Jamie. Thanks for being who you are. You are our favorite part of our business. You are the best part of Bucks Island, and we appreciate you. We'll talk to you again next week.